Professor Srikumar Rao once said, "You cannot solve an internal problem with an external action." Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Tatiana and I'm a holistic nutritionist, lifestyle mentor and motivational speaker. In today's episode I'm going to talk to you about how I healed my compulsive overeating syndrome and how I in general fixed my problems with food. It's going to be a very personal story, so don't forget to like this video, to leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't done this yet. So I was born in Soviet Union and it was just 2 years before the collapse of Soviet Union. In those times there was a very limited amount of ingredients and the variety of food was very limited. And basically people had a lot of bread and potatoes and maybe here and there some meat, but not so much fruits, not so much exotic fruits. So I grew up with this idea that food is something you never can throw away, that it's scarce, and actually this laid a foundation of my relationships with food. My parents and grandparents had this tremendous impact on my relationship with food. And don't get me wrong, I really love my parents and I think they have done a great job and educated me and gave me this amazing opportunity. I never had a lack of food or something, but there was something extremely disturbing about this relationship with food that people back then had. So from childhood I considered food as something that can never be thrown away. I remember my grandmother used to say, "Don't you throw away that piece of bread, eat it, because otherwise it will chase you all day long." I mean, I was very scared to think about the piece of bread running after me all day long, so I ate it. Food was used as means of rewarding me for everything that was happening actually. If I cry, they gave me a cookie. If I felt sad, they gave me a candy. So from that time, I already started to think that food is something I could solve my emotional problems with. So in my teenage years, nothing changed. Sad, heartbroken, PMS, bored, food to the rescue. Obviously food didn't change anything. It just actually deepened my problems. So I was coping with terrible skin rashes, I was overweight, I had compulsive overeating syndrome, I had digestive problems, and let's say the road to healthier and happier me was quite bumpy. This is by the way how I looked when I was 16/18. I had no idea that I had some syndromes or had some compulsive overeating syndrome. So basically if you don't know you have this, you don't know how to solve it. Why am I telling you this story? Because I hope that at least for some of you it might be very useful. In preparation for this episode, I started to look up when this term actually came up and who was actually the person who started to speak about this. First, this term came in 1959 and it was described by psychiatrist Albert Stunkart. Surprise, surprise! And he said that this disorder is an eating pattern that involved consuming an excessively amount of food at irregular times. Neuroscientists also say that a very strong emotion leads to an action. So in 2018 I got really fed up with this eating disorder, so I was basically stuffing myself with food every time I had some frustration. So strong emotion. And I decided to take a very bold action. And I started to dig deeper into this problem and I started to learn neurolinguistic programming. And this is how I found this amazing method called alarm, which I'm gonna share with you in this episode. I believe that identifying the problem gives already a 50% of the solution. So this is what this technique alarm entails. So what you have to do is actually take a piece of paper and a pen. you have to get rid of all distractions. So try to go to the toilet before, take a glass of water, switch off your phone and prepare the alarm for 20 to 30 minutes. The idea is that you start writing for 20 minutes. But before you will write something, you will have to ask yourself a very provocative question about the topic that bothers you. For example, why are you hurting your body with food? Make this question really painful for you and start writing the excuses for 20 to 30 minutes long. In the beginning, your brain will be like, oh, let me be, we're fine, woman, go have a cookie, you are totally fine. No. Just wait, and in 20 minutes, your subconscious mind will start to release the real problem, the real cause of this problem. So when I found out what was my problem, I was literally laughing my ass off. Why? Because actually sometimes our brain takes the fears from some other people, from our grandparents, from our parents. I was actually afraid that I won't have food anymore, that I will die from not eating, from having no food in my fridge, which is totally not the trauma from me. It's a trauma from my grandparents, since they've been through all the problems with food and famine. After I realized what was my problem, every time I was reaching out for that cookie when I, for example, was sad or I was really tired or stressed because of my work, almost every time, I was thinking about the real reason why I want to eat more than I could actually potentially eat. And sometimes I would just say, okay, let's just put the cookie back and let's do something else. For example, go for a walk with my dog, or maybe drink a glass of water and go and sleep a little bit. Or talk to your parents or talk to your friends about the emotions you are struggling with. Or the best method is still journaling. Write down what's going on with you. And trust me, you will find out like 95% out of 100. I promise you, you are not hungry, you are just emotional. So try to solve your emotional problem or need, internal need, with an internal work, not an external action. So I think that it's an amazing technique. It's going to take some courage for you to do this, but I really believe in you, because remember, finding the problem is 50% of the solution. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if it was very useful for you, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I promise I'll be back soon. Thank you so much and have an amazing, wonderful day. Bye!